Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios. Tony, give everyone that number if they wish to participate too.
Sorry, let me find it.
Oh, I've got it here.
651-289-4488.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry, Gene. You know, I'm participating remotely from home today, and I'm also taking calls about snow removal issues.
You're doing double duty today, you're doing very well. A lot of our listeners probably don't even know that you're not here in the studio with me, so yeah, we can't even have any hand signals or eye contact to say who's going to talk next here. So, but you're doing very well with the handicaps in front of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and we've had I think a couple of great guests so far today, It
has been a really fun show. We've hit on a lot of topics, but we've had really good input from our guests. You're right.
Yeah, and, I guess it all has kind of centered a little bit around self-direction. In the first hour it was David Schrager, who was with an association where the homeowners were beginning to take charge of their life and self-directing the association so that it wasn't being run by just a very few folks, but that democracy was going to be alive and well again in that association. And I think they're going to do well.
And, I was thinking, that's amazing to me that an association would go for 9 years without more questioning or more confrontation going on with that board. On the other hand, our guest last week, Jan Bergman, had very strong opinions about faulty or dysfunctional homeowner associations, and you can see why.
Well, you make a very good point. This was clearly an example of the kind of thing that he was upset with. Unfortunately, with Mr. Bergman, I thought he was too quick to place the blame on others as opposed to internalizing it with the people who are in power.
He was blaming the system and the process, whereas really, as in like most things, the fault lie with the human beings involved in this situation.
Yes, everything would be just fine if humans just weren't involved, right?
There you go.
Well, we've got something else here. We've got, let's talk about our next issue. And this is about a state legislature that's getting involved. And, man, Tony, again, I think it's another example of where people are well-intentioned, but I think they're getting involved where they really shouldn't be. And let me go ahead and read this article. This is from the Las Vegas Sun News, and the article says state panel sets a limit on homeowner association fee collections from foreclosures. A state commission decided just this last Tuesday that homeowner associations will be limited now in what their collection companies can charge for late assessments and other fees. There is an organization, and get this, Tony, this is quite a mouthful, the State Common Interest in Communities and Condominium Hotels Commission. That's right.
It is a mouthful.
CICCHC, that's right for short, set a cap saying that when it comes to being able to get reimbursed for the costs that you've put out to try and collect from a delinquent homeowner, they're capping it at $1,950. And they said above that, we think that is just ridiculous, and there's no right to charge anything higher than that. It's interesting. I'd like to know why they got to the 1950, but
really,
the article doesn't say. But further on, it says here, investors who are buying foreclosures, and here's one of the big impetus. Investors buying foreclosures have complained to the state legislature that the fees they pay when they are purchasing these foreclosed units have been a big burden.
I think that's just ridiculous. that it seems like the legislature of the state of Nevada set aside concerns about the homeowners and the owners still living in this homeowners association who are trying to collect delinquent dues, and they're responding to investors that are buying foreclosed homes.
Yeah, and they're the ones that are complaining. There was a person. I don't know if it's a man or woman. The name was Rutt Primus Root, R-U-T-T. That's an interesting.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. So I think Rutt Primus Root, who is an investor. They said that they think that the homeowner associations have been one-sided and unfair in their struggles. They say they feel, from their perspective, that the state legislature is giving in everything to the HOA management and to the association. And they said not once did they try to examine costs line by line to determine what's reasonable and fair to homeowners. That's the problem, I think, that happens a lot of time in government. People, the biggest thing that people are worried about is what is fair. We've got to be fair to everybody. And I think that is an impossibility to achieve.
And not only that, at least in these issues we deal with in homeowners associations, when people are talking about being fair, they almost never look at the homeowners association as a collection of homeowners. They keep looking at the homeowners association and the board of directors as some kind of evil landlord or evil overseer, when really they are the homeowners. They are the members of that association.
Yeah, it's astounding to me. It's the legislators, I think, and it's probably indicative of the system. They hear from people that lobby, and so there are certain groups that probably find it a little bit easier to gather together and to show a presence. And the legislators are very quick to say, well, this is if this is what we're hearing, this has got to be the case, instead of trying to take a step back and say, is this really good policy? What's the other side? Sometimes I think that legislators want to too quickly pass something as law to say, look, I care, I'm doing something, instead of waiting a little bit longer and trying to be a little bit more even-handed, don't you think?
Even just take some time and understand the issue better. What I'm afraid will happen if you limit how much a homeowners association can charge back for collection efforts, there's going to be some associations who can't afford then to hire an attorney to help them with collections, or they can't afford to work with a collection agency. That means they're going to be strapped then in their efforts to collect delinquent assessments.
Oh, that's a great point, folks.
Some of the unforeseen consequences of this type of legislation.
Yep. Folks, we'd love to hear from you. We've got one more segment left before the close of our show today, but we need to take one last break. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. When we come back, still time for you to get in on this conversation on whether or not collections ought to have a ceiling to them. Give us a call, 651-289-4488.